The dry Utah air was heavy with dust and tension as the crew at Blind Frog Ranch prepared for their most dangerous dig yet. Over the years, they'd encountered nearly every obstacle imaginable: collapsing mine shafts, electromagnetic interference, toxic gas pockets, but nothing matched the weight of what lay ahead. Beneath the sun-scorched rocks, wrapped in centuries of secrecy and buried deeper than any known tunnel on the property, a new clue had emerged. It started with a map. Discovered hidden inside a deteriorating Spanish journal purchased at auction in Mexico City. The map detailed a route stretching north, far north, from the ancient lands of the Aztec Empire. The ink had faded, the parchment torn, but one thing was clear. The trail ended precisely within the coordinates of Blind Frog Ranch. The pages hinted at a cache of treasure smuggled out of the crumbling empire by rogue conquistadors, meant to remain hidden forever. Alongside crude drawings of mountains and canyons was a strange symbol, a jaguar with obsidian claws encircling a black sun. Researchers back at the base identified it as an ancient representation of Tezcatlipoca, the Aztec god of night, sorcery, and retribution. The crew debated the find with unease. The legends spoke of curses that befell those who defiled sacred Aztec ground. Misfortune, madness, and worse. But history was written in the soil, and the promise of gold buried beneath the desert proved impossible to resist. They began their descent into the newest shaft, a narrow, winding cave system that defied natural formation. The walls were smooth, too smooth, as if deliberately carved centuries ago. Faint etchings marked the stone, their meanings obscured by time, but there was symmetry to them. Order in the chaos. Deeper underground, they encountered anomalies. The team's electromagnetic sensors malfunctioned in precise intervals. Lights dimmed without cause. A single camera, left recording overnight, captured shadowy movements at the edge of its lens. No wildlife. No wind. Just darkness shifting in unnatural ways. Then came the chamber. Hidden beneath a collapsed passageway, the cavern opened like a mouth in the earth, lined with vertical stone pillars and a central altar of black glass. Embedded in the center was a golden mask, eerily intact, its eyes blank, its grin eternal. Around the mask, broken spears and shattered bones lay half-buried in obsidian dust. The crew's geologist identified the surrounding rock as a mix of volcanic glass and quicksilver, materials commonly used in Aztec rituals intended to bind spirits or ward off intruders. As they approached the altar, a high-pitched vibration hummed through the cavern, at first barely audible, then rising to a thrum that rattled the stone under their boots. Instruments failed. Batteries drained. They retreated with what little documentation they could gather. Above ground, unease settled over the camp like a fog. Animals avoided the area. Weather patterns shifted unexpectedly. Team members fell ill without explanation. Headaches, nausea, fevers that faded as quickly as they came. A local spiritual advisor brought in for consultation refused to return after visiting the site, leaving behind a handwritten note referencing a portal beneath the jaguar. Still, the dig pressed on. Another tunnel, revealed behind a crumbled retaining wall, led them deeper still. This one wound in a spiral pattern, uncommon for mining operations. The walls shimmered with flecks of gold and mercury, creating a hypnotic sheen under torchlight. At the end of the corridor, a stone door stood sealed, adorned with carvings of eagles, serpents, and flammet knives, carved idols, polished gems, all arranged with ritualistic precision. But in the final chamber, far larger than the rest, the true prize was uncovered. 5 stacked chests lined with Aztec motifs, their lids heavy with age. Each chest contained gold, bars, coins, ceremonial artifacts, all encrusted in centuries of grime. But the gold was unlike anything they'd seen before. It shimmered faintly in the dark, as though absorbing light rather than reflecting it. Chemical analysis back at base revealed an unusually high concentration of trace elements, mercury, arsenic, and hematite, raising the question of whether the gold was forged with ritualistic intent. The crew celebrated, but not for long. That night, seismic activity rippled through the valley. Small landslides cut off access to the main road. A support beam at one of the tunnels gave way without warning, narrowly missing 2 team members. The camera systems crashed. The footage recovered later showed nothing but static and the occasional silhouette flickering across frames. By morning, one of the recovered gold artifacts had cracked along a seam, leaking a thick black substance onto the table below. The laboratory shut down operations for decontamination, and the object was returned to. Soon after, the nightmares began. Crew members described similar visions. Tunnels collapsing in slow motion, faceless figures standing over their beds, and voices whispering from the dark. One worker quit and left the ranch entirely, citing an overwhelming sense of being watched. Another began sketching unfamiliar symbols into the dirt without conscious effort, symbols that matched the carvings deep within the spiral tunnel. The team convened and made the decision to halt the excavation. The remaining gold was documented and returned to its original place in the chamber. The stone door was resealed using industrial concrete and reinforced steel beams. No one argued. Even after resealing the site, strange occurrences persisted. A thick mist began appearing along the ridge at dawn, an unusual phenomenon for the typically dry region. Equipment continued to glitch in brief bursts. Trail cams caught motion during hours when no one was present. A shape, vaguely humanoid, always just outside the lens's focus. The crew decided not to pursue the remaining chambers. The risk outweighed the reward. The legend of Tezcatlipoca loomed too large, and the evidence, though never definitive, was enough to convince even the most skeptical among them that something beyond their understanding guarded that cavern. The remaining season focused on archival research, cross-referencing Spanish expedition logs with Aztec mythology, searching for confirmation. One entry, penned by a conquistador priest, described a journey to the land of red cliffs, where a great treasure had been hidden and cursed with blood rites. The passage ended abruptly. The priest's signature, smeared and incomplete. With the treasure returned and the site sealed, the desert seemed to grow quiet again. Equipment stabilized. Nightmares faded. The mist retreated. Still, the crew refused to revisit the tunnels. The data collected was shared with a small circle of archaeologists and cultural historians, many of whom cautioned against further excavation. The Blind Frog team had found what they were looking for: gold, mystery, and history. But they had also stumbled into a place where time frayed, where the past bled into the present. Some called it superstition, others sacred ground. Either way, they had been warned. Though they left with little of the treasure in hand, they carried away something heavier, an understanding that not all riches are meant to be recovered, and not all doors are meant to be opened. The earth at Blind Frog Ranch had secrets, and for now, they would remain buried beneath obsidian stone and desert silence. Whether the curse was real or psychological didn't matter. It had done its job. Deep in the heart of Utah's Uinta Basin, where shadows cling longer than daylight and the earth seems to whisper forgotten secrets, the team at Blind Frog Ranch had one mission: unearth the rumored cache of Aztec gold hidden beneath centuries of sediment, stone, and supernatural warnings. But in Season 5 of Mystery at Blind Frog Ranch, What began as a methodical search escalated into a chilling race against ancient forces set to guard the treasure with a deadly curse. The Ollinger family, led by the relentless Duane Ollinger, was no stranger to peril. Over 4 seasons, viewers had watched them dig into unstable caverns, uncover petroglyphs, and confront magnetic anomalies that defied science. But this season, their journey took a darker turn. A new lead. A decaying Spanish journal discovered in a sealed oilskin pouch beneath the East Tunnel offered a cryptic clue. The gold rests where the stone weeps, and the gods demand silence. The entry referred to a location Duane had always avoided, a sealed cavern nicknamed La Boca de Muerte, the mouth of death. Legend held that Spanish conquistadors once attempted to extract treasure from the site, but vanished, leaving behind only rusted armor and blackened bones. Aztec lore spoke of a curse placed on any who dared remove sacred artifacts or gold. For years, the entrance had remained untouched, half swallowed by a rockslide and obscured by gnarled pinyon pines. Despite the warnings, the team decided to investigate. Over the first week of excavation, strange events plagued the ranch. Electronic devices malfunctioned. Drones lost UPS signal and spiraled from the sky. Crew members reported hearing faint chanting, always just beyond earshot. Most disturbing of all, a local Ute tracker hired to assist with navigation disappeared overnight, his abandoned boots found facing the cavern mouth, no footprints leading away. Duane was undeterred. If there was gold beneath that rock, he was going to find it. Armed with new ground-penetrating radar technology, geologist Eric Drummond scanned the cave's perimeter. The results were shocking. Beneath the entrance, a network of tunnels branched out like a spider.